Hey friends, please like and subscribe for more amazing stories. Peter, my dad, is a great man. He believes in giving everyone the best life possible, and a lot of people love him. That's why his political opponents can't beat him just by campaigning. They have to resort to shadier tactics to try and get him to step down. It's the only way they could have a chance at winning. And that's what they did. Unfortunately, I was the target for their corrupt strategies. I'm not hurt or anything, but it was hard to make my dad believe I was okay. Sandra, who was my dad's political rival, was behind all this. Here's what happened.
Miss Marianne, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. And you?
I'm great, thank you for asking. I was thinking, you've got an amazing body. And I think if a lot of people love Peter, they'll love you too. I have a proposal for you if you're interested.
Okay, what do you want from me?
I'm not just a politician. I'm also a fitness activist. I think we could use you to model for an advertisement. We'll pay you nicely. What about it?
I don't know. What do you want me to do? It will depend on what you want me to model for, so tell me more about it.
I want you to pose for a waist trainer advert, that's all. You're going to help us show its snug fit and practical design. Are you in?
That sounds great. If you'll have me, then let's do it. I wish I knew what I was getting myself into. The advertisement would eventually get released, but little did I know how advanced Sandra's effects team was. What I thought were harmless photos would eventually become my dad's biggest nightmare.
And smile. Good. Pose. And smile. Wonderful, Marianne. You're a natural.
Really? That's great to hear, but why am I in my underwear?
It's to show how well it fits you even without the clothes. We want to show how versatile it is for all sizes. Can we get some shots of you without the waist trainer to show the difference?
I don't know. This feels weird. I'm feeling uncomfortable.
Don't worry. We'll take good care of you. Just give me a good pose, and we're good. Alright?
I wish I said no, but the photographer guy seemed trustworthy enough. They treated me to really good snacks after, so I thought everything was fine. They drove me home safely, and I even thought that Sandra was actually a nice woman. I was terribly mistaken, though. Good morning, Dad. Are you going to campaign today?
Oh, good morning, Marianne. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Is something wrong? You seem scared.
Yeah, everything's fine. I think I'm feeling under the weather. I probably won't be able to campaign today.
Oh, okay. Maybe tomorrow?
I don't know. Maybe next week? I'm not feeling well. I'm going to go work in my room, okay? Let me know if you need anything, dear.
I had no idea that the photos the photographer took were being used to make it look like I was selling my body to somebody. I didn't know it at the time, but they made my dad believe they would share my photos on the internet if he didn't step down. So, of course, he stepped down. They told him they would abduct me too if he tried talking to me about it, so of course I couldn't tell him the truth. I wish I had just told them outright no from the onset, but I don't know. I just made a dumb mistake.
I'm sorry, my dear. I can't do this anymore. Campaigning has stressed me out lately, and I don't think I have the motivation to run anymore.
But Dad, they love you. I don't understand what's wrong. Everyone seems happy when you talk to them.
No, it's a silent majority. I'm sorry, Marianne. I know you wanted to see me at the top, but I have to rest. I'll talk to you when I wake up.
Of course he had to lie to me. There wasn't a silent majority that hated him. He was scared that my photos would ruin our family's reputation. It didn't have to end like this. I should have said something. I really should have. But I didn't know what was wrong, and because of that little mistake, my dad lost his chance. Sandra won the election because she was the only candidate, and my dad spent his days depressed in his room. If only I knew better, I could have prevented this. A few months after Sandra was elected, my dad breathed easy. That's when, and I'm happy to say this, the things came back in our favor.
I think they're off my tail now. Whew. Marianne, how did they get those photos of you?
Huh? What photos? Wait, you can't mean...
Yes, the photos of you. In your underwear? How did they get those?
Oh, is that why you stopped campaigning? I can't believe them! My dad and I had a heated conversation about how I modeled for Sandra. I even had a recording of the advertisement they released saved on my phone. Thanks to that, along with some other evidence we looked around for, we informed the cops so they could start an investigation. Eventually, Sandra's team was exposed for blackmailing my dad, and she was arrested. My dad eventually replaced Sandra's position. Now, we're living happily, knowing that things will be better once more. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hey friends! Please like and subscribe for more amazing stories! I'm Daisy Martin, and 3 years ago, having a baby nearly ruined my career. At the time, I was working as an artist for a studio in New York called Outlier Pictures. We designed paintings and art pieces for hotel rooms all over the country. It was a really good company, and I was the head designer. The only person who ranked ahead of me was the CEO, a man named Drew Masters. He was a mean boss, but most of the time I didn't have to interact with him. That changed when I found out I was pregnant. My husband and I were so excited for the baby. But when I told Drew that I would be taking maternity leave, he wasn't happy at all.
How could you abandon us like this? You know we've got a new deal from the fancy hotels in Boston.
I'm not abandoning you. I'll only be gone for a couple of months. Once the baby is old enough to go to daycare, I'll be back, and everything can go back to normal.
If you actually cared about this company, you wouldn't take this time off. You don't need a vacation. You need to stay and work on the new designs.
I did care about the company, but I also really cared about my baby. Drew couldn't actually stop me from taking maternity leave, but he was never happy about it. Before I left for my leave, he talked all the time about how it was a sign I didn't care about my work and was secretly a slacker. On my last day, he warned me I was making a mistake. I thought he was just trying to make a scene about it. I didn't think he would actually do anything. When I came back to work, I realized I was wrong.
Oh good. Daisy, you're back. Unfortunately, we no longer need your services. While you were away, we found a much better artist than you.
Standing in the corner, there was a tall, mean-looking young man. He was chewing gum and didn't even seem to be listening to the conversation. After a second, I realized I recognized him. Is that your son?
Mars is my son, but he's also a much better artist than you've ever been. He doesn't just take 2 months off of work for no reason. He's been working your job ever since you've left. And now that you're back, he's going to be keeping your position.
You can't do that! I didn't take 2 months off for no reason. I was having a baby. And you can't fire me for that. It's against the law.
Don't worry. Officially, we're not firing you for taking maternity leave. Officially, we're firing you because Mars is a much better artist. There's no silly law getting in the way of us doing that.
I realized he was right. I couldn't prove that he was firing me because of the maternity leave, even though I knew it was true. Please, Mr. Masters, I need this job. I have a new baby. I have to make enough money to feed her.
You should have thought of that before you took your little vacation.
Right then, thinking about my baby and how I might not be able to afford to feed her, I started to cry.
Ugh, why are women always so emotional? Fine. If it will make you stop crying, you can still have a job here. Not your old job. But if you really need to work so badly, you can be Mars's assistant.
It was a much worse job than my old job, but it was still a job. I needed to feed my baby, so I accepted it. I had to work in a tiny closet next to Mars's giant office. Drew had said that Mars was a better artist than me, but it was hard to believe. All he ever did in his office was talk on the phone and play games on his computer. I did all of his paperwork for him, and I never saw him working on designs. Whenever he saw me, he would yell at me and make fun of me for being demoted. It was a really bad job, but I kept at it. When I had free time between the paperwork, I would sketch my own designs on slips of paper, but I wasn't allowed to design anything for the company. One day, a very important investor came to the company. He wanted to buy 100 designs to hang in his brand new hotel. Mars was supposed to make the designs. I was just supposed to serve them tea.
Thank you for coming here, Mr. Roston. Please have a seat. My lead designer has put several designs together for you. I hope they're good designs. I have a lot of important things to do. I can't waste time on bad designs, or I'll have to find a new company. You're going to love them.
Mars started showing off his designs for the hotel art. I didn't have to look at them for very long to know they weren't very good. The colors were all wrong, and the shapes weren't drawn very well. I knew that Mr. Roston wasn't going to like them before he said anything.
These paintings are horrible. They're uninspired, and I would be disappointed to see them hanging in the gas station bathroom, let alone in a nice hotel like mine.
I didn't want the company to lose the job, so I tried to step in. Look here, if you just change this color to... Drew interrupted me immediately, pushing me out of the room.
Don't worry about her. She's just an assistant. She doesn't know anything about design. If these paintings are any indication, none of you do. When I come back by next week, you had better have a much better example, or I'm going to be taking my business to another studio.
He stormed out of the building, and everyone went back to their offices. Mars yelled at me and told me that I should not have interrupted. When he realized I had been drawing at my desk between the jobs he gave me, he confiscated all of my sketches. He told me that if I stopped wasting time on my terrible attempts at art, I would have more time to learn my place as an assistant. Maybe then, I would know better than to interrupt important meetings. Everyone was even meaner than usual until Mr. Roston came back. I was told to serve tea again, and this time I was determined to stay completely quiet. I had even brought my new sketchbook with me to keep me occupied after I served the tea. I started to pour Mr. Roston's tea when Drew put his new designs up on the screen. I was so shocked that I spilled the tea all over Mr. Roston. They were my designs. The very same ones that he had confiscated and called terrible.
Are you alright, dear? That was a big spill.
I knew that if I told him the truth, I would be in big trouble. Yes, sir. I'm alright. I'm really sorry.
Please don't worry about it. These new art pieces are so good that no amount of spilled tea could put me in a bad mood. Here, let me help you.
Mr. Roston picked up a broken teacup, and before I could stop him, he was reaching to pick up the sketchbook I had dropped, too.
There we go. It doesn't even look too damaged.
He flipped through some of the pages to check to see if they had been ruined by the spill. Then, he looked up at the board.
Please don't worry about her. Like I said last week, she's just an assistant. After a mistake like that, we're going to have to fire her. That's good to hear. Because if you fire her, that means she'll be available to come work for me. What? Why would you want someone like her? She doesn't take her work seriously at all. Just earlier this year, she took 2 whole months off just to have a baby. It's clear from the sketchbook that she's the one who made the designs you showed me today. She deserved to be a lot more than an assistant. Taking time off to be with her baby clearly didn't make her any less of an artist.
Drew was furious, but he couldn't stop Mr. Roston from hiring me. Mr. Roston paid me twice what I had been making before I left for maternity leave. And I had an even bigger office. I had plenty of time off to spend with my daughter. And when I had another baby last year, he didn't complain at all about me taking maternity leave. My old boss thought that having a baby would make me too weak and distracted to handle my job. What he didn't realize was that being a mother made me stronger than I ever had been. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe.